If it wasn't already self-evident, we have officially reached the Fox-level stage of canon and continuity, where the events in the movies are so loosely tied together that nothing really matters at all. The films of the MCU are now just setup fodder for the next Avengers movie, without holding any weight or meaning of an Avengers-level event. The movies just don't matter anymore.
That's harsh. Yeah.
We've even got Tony Stark coming back as Doctor Doom, and supposedly he's the impending threat to really set the MCU back on track.
Do not be misled. We are not back. The glory days are long gone, and even some of the heartfelt aspects about Thunderbolts aren't enough to redeem this placeholder, setup, vague tie-in movie for the inevitable next MCU installment.
Thunderbolts begins with our classic Marvel Studios animation banner. But oh no, the color begins to fade out.
If it wasn't clear from the get-go, the movie wants to establish a serious and dark tone. And unfortunately, but unsurprisingly, it doesn't do it well.
Thunderbolts does have lines of dialogue and scenes in an attempt to tie in the recent events of the MCU, and also provide backstory for our characters.
It's a part of the film that I can appreciate, but honestly, it's a little too late, being how incongruent and messy the MCU has been since Endgame. The overall theme of the film is centered around depression and one's inner demons.
Yelena is framed as our main character, and the individual the audience will journey with, to see if she can overcome her depressive and apathetic state. It's worth mentioning that Thunderbolts recontextualizes and retcons several characters, where their behaviors and decisions in this film don't align with how they were portrayed in their previous MCU appearances.
Yelena is no exception.
She is now a character stricken by Natasha's death, despite previous installments indicating she's already made peace with it. There are moments where the movie handles dealing with one's inner demons in a touching and moving way.
It gets pretty heavy at times, but in standard MCU fashion, they are quick to undercut a serious moment with a joke or some other kind of levity.
I love that guy.
As somebody who can personally identify with and resonate with what Yelena was going through in the movie, I think it would have been better to center her existential crisis around something else.
Maybe something like Arishem the Judge or Tiamat could have caused her to reassess what she's been doing with her life since the events of Black Widow. And then we have Robert Reynolds, the Sentry. Lewis Pullman is the clear standout for me in this movie. The performances all around were solid for the most part, but Lewis did a great job as playing both an unassuming character and a menacing one.
Why would a god take orders from anyone at all? Maybe I need to show you what I'm capable of.
However, I do have issues with how they resolved his battle with the Void. I don't like the choice to have his friends be the reason he was able to overcome his demons. I think it would have been a more poignant point if he was able to overcome the Void alone, or found a way to accept and live with it. I think coming to grips with the fact that you may always have to live with your inner demons and past traumas is a more accurate depiction of what it's really like to live with depression. At least in my experience, I don't view my bouts of depression as something that will ever fully go away. I've had to learn a lot about myself and develop strategies to manage and combat the darkness within me that at times seems insurmountable.
Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target.
Now back to Thunderbolts, I think it would have been better to focus on each character overcoming their own void and darkness. The main conflict happens at the end of the movie, and things resolve fairly quickly despite there being a lot of potential to have it be the meat of the movie, and explored in a lot more detail. The pacing of Thunderbolts is not good. We spend way too much time in the setup phase for the first half of the film. The team-up between our would-be protagonists is simple and clear enough. We didn't need the extensive courtroom and bunker scenes to bring the Thunderbolts together. If the movie really wanted to tell a better story on overcoming depression and apathy, or helping a friend overcome depression and apathy, spending more time with each character in their own scarring memory could have led to a more fulfilling tale. The characters in the Thunderbolts team are extremely flawed and have a ton of potential to explore very interesting and deep concepts.
But the conversation on mental health, if you want to call it that, is quite vague and superficial. Being that depression and mental health is a very nuanced conversation, you could have had Yelena, Walker, and the rest of the Thunderbolt team each travel into the void to gain insight or share insight about their experiences in overcoming their own inner demons.
But the characters are quite unserious, and their decisions seem so counterintuitive for who they've been built up to be. I could not take them seriously. So it was even more challenging to take the plot's attempts to have a compelling story seriously.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
The movie is riddled with plot convenience. If Walker's shield didn't conveniently hit a table to open Bob's tomb, he wouldn't be in the movie. Somehow Bob has a kill switch inside of him, despite Valentina knowing nothing of his existence until he's already been broken out.
Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it.
The movie is also very self-referential and self-aware. The meta dialogue was odd and seemed misplaced for the kind of movie Thunderbolts is trying to be.
The jokes also didn't land for me. I chuckled maybe once or twice, but that's pretty standard for me nowadays when it comes to Marvel stuff.
Now I can't help but bring up our antagonist Valentina. She has been painted as the morally gray Lady Nick Fury, who's always up to something. Yet in this movie, she was very incompetent. So many of her decisions are short-sighted and foolish. It seemed like her character knew little to nothing of what was going on with her own endeavors. And then she just plot armors her way to avoiding accountability for her actions by the end of the film. Because, ladies and gentlemen, here are your new Avengers.
And that's the gist for my thoughts on Thunderbolts. The bar I had for Thunderbolts was already very low. The movie didn't instill any investment in me for its characters. I didn't care about them. And even though Thunderbolts touches on mental health challenges, it doesn't really explore the ideas introduced in a truly meaningful way. The serious themes and tone stand in clear contrast with the characters' questionable behaviors. I'm not one to believe that the comic book superhero movie genre is fully dead, but it just might be a long time before we get something good. Hit me up, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll catch you next time on The Gist.